I think a good portion of Giants fans went out to Fan Fest yesterday. We'll talk about that a little bit. But good portion of Giants fans are feeling the optimism. A lot of people are excited from what they saw with Landon RUP, what they saw with Jordan Hicks. These young guys, these young studs coming up through the Giants system is just getting a lot of people excited. The offseason acquisitions, Jung-Hoo Lee. I mean, everybody was it was an electric atmosphere out at Oracle Park yesterday. And if you were out at Oracle Park yesterday, go ahead and give us a call. What were your thoughts on FanFest? 415-808-KNBR. That's 415-808-5627. Want to hear how you felt. For me, I just got to go out there and say, I love baseball. I love good any time that I can get out to the ballpark, step on that grass, because FanFest is the only time that you can get onto the field for most fans, right? So you're out there, you're on the grass, you're playing catch with some of your buddies, with your kids or whoever you're going with, and this year had the game up on the scoreboard, and just to be around Giants fans, we know that that this year is we're expecting something special, something better than last year, right? And just being out there, being surrounded by the Giants fans, having all that optimism. Yes, there's questions for the Giants, but there's questions for every team. I mean, look at the Dodgers. All right, they don't even know what's going on at shortstop. At least we have somewhat of an idea of who we're going to have. They're moving Mookie Betts over there at shortstop. I don't know what that means for Gavin Lux moving over to second base. They don't trust him with the glove. So, or rather, is more an arm issue. So they're moving him over closer to first base. But anyways, 415-808-KNBR is the number. Shoot us a text as well. Reading these texts that are coming through. A lot of people were excited yesterday. Everyone that I talked to at Giants Fan Fest, I was out there, and Adam Copeland was out there. Marcus the Waterboy Boucher was out there. Rich Aurelia, Hunter Pence, just a lot of KNBR alum were out there behind the scenes. It was just a phenomenal event. But going out there and talking to the Giants fans, I was just walking around. I was asking, how do you feel about this team going into 2024? How are you feeling compared to how you felt last year? And there was a lot of optimism. A lot of people were really excited. And of course, it happened to be happening when Jordan Hicks was on the mound, just absolutely dealing yesterday. 3 innings through 41 pitches. We'd like to see that pitch count go up, but it is going to go up at some point. They're going to ramp him up. Bob Melvin spoke yesterday with Marty Lurie and said that by the end of spring, they're going to want to have his pitch count up to reach around 100 pitches in an outing. So Jordan Hicks, that's a big question that was a lot of Giants fans they didn't know what to expect from Jordan Hicks. This guy has not been a starter in the major leagues. They sign him. He's been a reliever, and they sign him as a starter. I think that's why he came over, because he was going to have the opportunity to start. Maybe he turned down, other offers to have that opportunity to start for the San Francisco Giants, and he is going to get that opportunity. But how are you feeling after that outing? I mean, 3 innings, 6 Ks in 41 pitches. I think you have to feel optimistic about this starting rotation. I know everyone continues to talk about, Blake Snell, and it sounds like he could possibly be going to the Angels. We'll have to see what happens in that market. But this is the rotation. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday, and I'm going to get the thoughts of Glenn Kyper, who's going to be joining us on the show in about 15 minutes. I'm going to get his thoughts on everything, not only the pitching, but the shortstop battle and just the overall feel of camp with Bob Melvin and Matt Chapman there reuniting. I do think that when you look at this team, when you look at the Giants in comparison to a year ago today, right? I think that what I'm seeing anyway, and go ahead and chime in on the text line. I feel that these players are playing with obviously it's spring training, and everyone feels the best shape of their life, right? That's the MO every spring. Oh, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm ready to break records.
Nothing hurts right now.
Yeah, nothing hurts. Nothing hurts. But I don't know if it's a Bob Melvin thing, and I want to ask Glenn actually this question. I do think that there is a swagger about this team. There is a confidence about this team, and I think that stems from the coaching staff. I think that stems from having a Matt Williams. I think that stems from having a Pat Burrell, a Brian Price, and a Bob Melvin, right? So I definitely want to get the thoughts of Glenn Kyper coming up at 12:20, and but for now, let's get your thoughts. I want to hear how the Giants fans are feeling. I know yesterday was probably the first time that Giants fans were able to see, unless you're on the MLB app, which I am. So I've been able to watch the Giants quite a bit, but it wasn't on the Giants broadcast, right? It was other teams. I think the first game. Well, who was the first weekend against? Was it the Angels? I think I was watching on the Angels broadcast that first weekend of spring training. I can't remember if it was the Angels or who they were playing. Oh, Chicago. Yeah. So it was Chicago. They were playing the Cubs, the Cubbies. Yeah, it was on the Chicago Cubs. Saw Boog Shambi on there. Yeah, I remember now. So yeah, if you don't have the MLB app and you're not watching other teams broadcast, this was the first one. This was the first Giants broadcast of the spring. So I feel like a lot of Giants fans had the opportunity for the first time to see. Of course, you're able to listen to it on KNBR. It's great, but it's different when you're watching it and you see it with your own eyes and the talent level of this team moving into 2024. I think they're in a better place than they were a year ago today. So let's go out to the phone lines real quick. I have Stroke in Oakland. I hope you're all right over there, but welcome to the leader. Welcome to KNBR. How you doing, man?
I'm fine, thanks. Hey, good positive analogy, man. Excellent. Obviously they went out to get pitching. I've heard about the pitching, but what gets overlooked is the Giants haven't been a good hitting team for years now, except for the one, magic year. A lot of 240 hitters, and got to put Matt Chapman in there. I know he's going to improve us defensively. He's going to make whoever at shortstop better, but I hope we don't overlook that. Ask Logan Webb about run support. We need to score some runs. We need some guys who put the bat in the ball. These new guys, we'll see. I just think I wish they would have been a little more aggressive and got some solid 280, 290 hitters, who are good for the ballpark, not necessarily to get home runs.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Stroke. Yeah, man, I have to look at this team and go back to the 2010s, right? When they won championships. What was the formula for winning those championships? Pitching and defense. In those World Series years, and timely hitting. In those World Series years, were the Giants, when you looked at the Giants, and I know the game now has shifted to long ball or nothing, right? And that's not the team that the Giants have. They're not going to out-hit anyone. But you don't have to ask them to do that. When you look at this pitching staff, when you look at this defensive unit that they're going to be throwing out there every day, and there hasn't been an announcement on the shortstop, but just take a look at what Melvin's lineups are doing. Ever since Chapman has been there, I want to say Nick Ahmed has been at shortstop for majority of the times. And you look at the lineup today and their split squad today. The game that we'll be carrying will be the Giants against the Chicago White Sox. When you look at that, you got Matt Chapman in the 5-hole at third. You got Nick Ahmed batting 8th at shortstop. That is going to be the combination. That is how the Giants are, and not just solely on them, but you look at the rest of the team, the defense that they're going to be throwing out there is huge. Not only because you know that their offense cannot compete. Yeah, they'll get hot, they'll get streaky. They have those type of players. But when you look at how the Giants won World Series before, how did they do it? It was pitching, timely hitting, and defense. I think that is the same formula, and it works for this ballpark. You have to take that into account as well. I know that the Giants aren't going to out-hit anyone. They're not, sluggers or anything like that. We might have the first 30 home run guy in God knows how long. I think it was 2004 was the last time with Barry Bonds. 2006, I can't remember the exact year. So we might have that in Jorge Soler, and everyone else is going to be able to contribute. But when you look at this team, just take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. What did they do? They weren't mashing. They did fundamental baseball, great pitching, and their rotation just looks filthy, by the way. Great pitching, defense, fundamental baseball, and they killed you with speed, right? And that's where, when you go back baseball of the 80s, of the 90s, a team had an identity, right? We weren't doing the, one of three outcomes, right? Walk, strikeout, home run. We didn't have that back in that time. That's what we have now. So I think that it's encouraging for me anyway. And go ahead and give us a call, text in how you're feeling about this Giants team moving into the 2024 season. Because when I look at this team, they are playing to the ballpark. They are getting out of falling into the identity of what all the other baseball teams are doing around the league. They're finding their own identity. And I think that the longer that this season goes on, I mean, it's spring, baby. Like I'm excited to see this team and just seeing the pitchers, the young pitchers at that. See Landon RUP come in there. Kyle Harrison, like these guys feel like they belong. They have confidence when you look at them. Mason Black, he did not look great in his first outing. That's for sure. He did not look great. He looked like he lacked a lot of confidence. Then the next two outings of him getting on the mound in spring training, he looked like a completely different guy. So it's like that you have to attribute that to the coaching staff of the San Francisco Giants. I think that's going to be a huge difference. I mean, obviously it's the players that get it done on the field. But to have those adults in the room, something that we didn't have for the last couple years for the Giants, to have those guys there, I think it's just an encouraging sight. So I'm excited about this team. How are you feeling? Looking over at the text line, 916 talking about Snell, says that the young arms are going to make everyone look silly. I think he's attributing to not going after Snell, right? We want to see the young guys. That's how I'm taking it. I want to see the young guys. These young guys are going to be good. I'm excited for that. So let's go more into the text line. Giants still have major issues. This is 650. Giants still have major issues up and down this lineup. Shortstop, right field, starting pitching, Yaz, injury-prone defense. All right. It's a fair assessment, but I don't think they have an issue at shortstop. Is that an issue at shortstop? Nick Ahmed is going to come in here, and yeah, he's not going to produce. He's not going to be a masher, right? But if the formula is pitching and defense, and you look at this rotation that we have now, with Logan Webb, with Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks looking really good. Again, it's spring, but looking really good early on. If they're going with that formula of pitching and defense, it's, you don't need Nick Ahmed to hit you 25 bombs. You know what I mean? You don't need the production from shortstop if they're limiting teams to 2-3 runs. That's how the Giants are going to win games this year. So 808 KNBR is the number. Go ahead and give us a call, give us a text. We're live on YouTube also, so go in there, go get into the chat. I haven't opened it up yet, but I'll pop into the chat, talk to the chat, see what everybody's doing. But coming up next, we're going to be speaking with Glenn Kyper. He is live in Scottsdale. We're going to talk about the Giants, what his assessment of it is, position battles. It's kind of wrapping up. I think you can kind of see the team that is unfolding in front of our eyes for the 2024 MLB season. So coming up next, Glenn Kyper. You're listening to the Giants Warm-Up Show on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Another breaking ball. He got 6 strikeouts now. I think that was another slider. That slider working well for him. He struck out 3 in a row, and he's also struck out 6 of the last 7 hitters that he's faced.
Welcome back to the Giants warm-up show. I'm your host, Walter Ikabalseta. That was John Miller on the call. 6 Ks for Jordan Hicks. Encouraging outing from the reliever turned starting pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. And we're going to be talking more Giants. Getting into this game coming up with the White Sox, split squad. Got Spencer Howard going, but we're going to talk to Glenn Kyper, who is down in Scottsdale. Going to get the lowdown on everything that's going on, and specifically, I want to know about Bob Melvin. Right. So, Glenn, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Walter, and thanks for having me on. It's another beautiful day in Scottsdale. I've been here for 3 weeks now, and I'm not going anywhere because it's just a beautiful day and starting to fill up here at Scottsdale Stadium. And we all know how awesome of a place this is, especially on a Sunday afternoon. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, love Scottsdale. Been down there a couple of times for Giants spring training, and it's just beautiful weather. So I'm glad that we were able to get the rain out of the way. How are you feeling for that 3 day of just limbo, just no baseball going on for the Giants?
Well, there's always there's always like a 2 or 3 day stretch in spring training where it gets weird weather-wise. You just hope you're not down here for that, where you get rain and wind and it's cold. But that has passed, and the split squad today is there's another Giants game going on out Peoria. So that allows the at-bats and the innings to kind of get straightened out. So a couple Giants games to follow today. But the weather's great again, and it's supposed to stay that way all week.
Talking with Glenn Kyper here. And Glenn, there is just when you're looking around, I just want to get your feeling on the going-ons at spring training with Bob Melvin now at the helm for the San Francisco Giants. I know you have experience with Bob and experience with Matt Chapman. What is the overall feel? Because when I'm looking at this team, when I'm looking at the players in the field, warming up, just everything that I'm seeing out of spring training, it just looks like everyone, there's good vibes going on at Giants camp. There's a lot of confidence coming. Is that a direct result of having Bob Melvin and some guys on this coaching staff, the new coaching staff for the Giants? Is that a direct result of that?
I think it is, Walter. I was not, around the team a lot last year, but it seemed like things got a little weird. Things got a little strange. The clubhouse maybe got away, from the manager a little bit. But I would say, listen, I know Bob well, 11 years with the A's, and he's just a no-nonsense guy. He expects that from the players. He expects it. He tells them what he expects from them, and if they don't do it, he's going to let them know. So there's a little bit. It's a pretty no-nonsense approach, and it works. He's had a terrific managerial career, and he's going to do a great job with the Giants. But I would say that, yes, in talking to people that are around the team last year and now this year, some of the players, I don't think they want to necessarily criticize who was here last year. That's not what this is about. But they do notice a difference in the leadership skills of Bob Melvin, and I think it shows. I think it showed from day one. I think it shows in the clubhouse. I think it shows pregame, and once the game starts, Bob's as good as anybody. But I do think what you're saying is true. There is a little bit more confident group, I think, in just how everything is going as far as an organization, and that's a good thing. I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, and especially at this time with the San Francisco Giants, Glenn, is we have a lot of young young pitchers, young players in this organization that are going to be relied on, especially in that pitching staff. So to have the support of Bob Melvin and having Brian Price in there and just having these guys that it's a no-nonsense accountability all around, I just feel like that is going to elevate the play and development of these young guys moving into the future.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And you know what else I think jumps out at me a little bit, Walter, is and again, this is not a criticism of past coaching staffs, but I think players, whether you're a veteran player or whether you're a young player, I do think they like to look at a coach and say, yeah, that guy was pretty good as a player. I think that makes a difference. I really do. So I think having Matt Williams here, who commands a ton of respect. I mean, we all know the big Marine, right? And nobody commands more respect than Matt Williams, but Matt's one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet. So, and Pat Burrell and Brian Price has been a manager. So I think players like to know that these guys that are telling me what to do, they have done it. And not only have they done it, but they've done it successfully. These guys have big numbers on the back of their baseball cards. I'm convinced that players like that and will listen more and accept maybe criticism more and accept instruction more from guys that have been there and done that. And I have noticed that in spring training here.
Talking with Glenn Kyper live from Scottsdale, has been around the team ever since camp started. So, Glenn, I just want to get your thoughts on who has stood out the most for you this spring training for the San Francisco Giants. I know there's a lot of candidates, a lot of new faces, but who is the X factor, I guess, or who has stood out the most for you in this 3-week stretch?
Well, I would say I don't know that there's. I think we got a pretty good idea what the position players are going to be, and is anybody jumping out? We know these guys, right? The Lee in center field is going to be fun to watch. He runs around, he brings excitement. I think that's going to be cool. We know Matt Chapman, he's going to be great. But I would say it's probably more of a group that has stood out, and that's these young pitchers. And I know Giants fans are reading a lot about them. I read a lot about them too the last off season, and now you see them, right? They what they look like, what they're about. And boy, oh boy, the Giants organization, coaching staff, all the way up to Farhan, I mean, they are super excited about this crop of young pitchers. And, Walter, it's not just 2 or 3 prospects. We're talking, if you include Keaton Wynn and Kyle Harrison, guys that have already been in the big leagues, we're talking 7 or 8 guys that have all pitched Double-A or above and had success and are big-time prospects. That's almost an unheard of number of prospects, all really close to the big leagues. And if I was a Giants fan, I'd be really, really excited about these guys. And we're going to see Wynn and probably Mason Black in the rotation if they're healthy, which is exciting to start the season. The kid Landon RUP yesterday, which I know everybody's starting to hear about. Yeah, we heard about him, from day one down here, and even Bob Melvin was like, yeah, this he may help us this year in the big leagues. So I would be really excited about that. So I wouldn't say one player, Walter, but I would say the group of young pitchers is the real deal. And if I was a Giants fan, I'd be looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing these guys. And you're going to see some of them in the big leagues this year.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Glenn, was, I was out at FanFest after I concluded my pregame duties yesterday and was talking to Giants fans, and they just are really excited about this young crop of pitchers. And, it's going to be a big ask. I mean, they are coming into this year with Logan Webb, who we know, finished second in Cy Young, probably a top 5 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. And you look at everyone else behind him, right? And for me, the biggest, not necessarily question, but what I wanted to see was Kyle Harrison, how he was going to do, because he's essentially the number 2 starter, and you need to have that presence that Kyle has exhibited in spring training to back up Logan Webb. Then what happens after that? Then you have Jordan Hicks, and he's looking really good, right? But when you go further down into the organization, when you look at Mason Black, when you look at Hayden Birdsong, when you look at Landon RUP, I mean, Mason Black will probably be on the rotation at that 5 spot, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of these young arms contributing this year where we might even see Carson Wisenhunt at some point. I'm really excited about him coming up. But Landon RUP, man, let's talk about him a little bit because everyone was waiting. I think a lot of people were disappointed about the rain on Thursday night because we were anticipating the spring debut. Yeah, man, we were anticipating that spring debut for Landon RUP. So in that one inning that he pitched, 2 Ks, I mean, this guy was as good as advertised. What's your initial thoughts just looking at him?
Yeah, you know what? I stuck around for the full game yesterday because, you know, it's spring training, right? If you want to slide out in the 7th, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, there's places to go. But I stuck around for the whole game because I really did want to see him pitch. And, you know, the stuff is really good, Walter. The breaking ball is kind of his specialty pitch. But from what I am hearing from the coaching staff, what they like most about him is he's a gamer and he's got some determination and he's got some give me the ball in him. And you know, I think that's what this organization is trying to teach these young, you know, pitchers. And so if you have that attitude that you really like, that's already there, that real ultra competitive attitude with these young pitchers. And that's one of the reasons why the organization likes these kids so much, because of there's that intangible of having the right attitude. And that's what RUP has. He really likes to get after you. And that to me is maybe the most impressive thing about it, but that's not something you can put on a stat sheet, right? I mean, but he stands out there. He's big. He's confident. He's got that look. And you know, and he wants to make you look bad as a hitter. And man, that's what you like from these young guys. So, and he's not the only one that has that. And Mason Black has a little bit of that as well. And that's what's exciting because the proper attitude when you stand on the mound is already there with these guys. You don't have to teach that to them. And RUP definitely has it, and I think you're going to see him in the big leagues this year at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to need a lot of guys, but every team needs a lot of guys. So I don't think the Giants will be any different than other teams. You just may need a little more help from your bullpen. You may need a couple of long guys in your bullpen, Walter, to help out early in the year with the starters who are not necessarily going to go long in the games.
Yeah, so we're talking with Glenn Kyper from Scottsdale, Arizona. Giants taking on the White Sox in just about 30 minutes. So, Glenn, I just wanted to ask you, because we're talking about the pitching staff, and you did bring up the bullpen, and with Sean Jelly being injured and going to be reevaluated here in the coming days, would there be a possibility of some of these young guys that we mentioned, RUP or Birdsong, or anyone of that nature, these young arms, that they would slot in to the long role in the bullpen? Because with Sean Jelly not there anymore, it's kind of we're trying to figure out who that guy is now.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the bullpen, Walter, I think Duvall, the Rogers twins, Jackson, Walker are locks, right? So that's 5.
Right.
You got an 8-man bullpen, so you really have, at this point, you have 3 openings down there. Mm-hmm. And in talking to the Giants, I think they feel like, and I mentioned it just before that because of the rotation and the young guys and Hicks and Harrison, maybe not, are these guys going to go 7 innings every night? No. I think the Giants are leaning toward having 2 long relievers of those 3 spots that are still open. Now, who that's going to be, that's the big question mark. I don't know that they'll take a RUP or one of these young starters and put them down there. I think they'd rather have, let's put these young starters in the minor leagues, let them pitch every 5th day, let them, get their pitch counts up. I think you may be looking at guys like a Dalton Jeffries, who has looked good. He's got a chance to go down to the bullpen, and if you need him for 3 or 4, he's going to do that. Ethan Small is a left-hander who could pitch multiple innings. So I don't know that any of these young guys will be part of that long relief. The back end of the bullpen guys. When I say back end, I mean your 6, 7, and 8 relievers. I think they're going to be more. Maybe there's a couple non-roster guys right now that have pitched well and can give you 3-4 innings. But I think 2 of those final 3 spots I do think are going to be filled by guys who can go 3-4 innings at least in the first maybe 5-6 weeks of the season. Before Alex Cobb comes back, and then you get another guy in that rotation who can go 7 innings.
Talk with Glenn Kyper here, wrapping up as we are talking to him live from spring training in Scottsdale. Glenn, I got to get your thoughts on Matt Chapman. Obviously, you've seen him for years. We know what the glove can do over there. I mean, 4-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Platinum Glove winner. We know what we get with Matt Chapman, but just speak to the effect that it has for the overall team defense. I mean, everyone knows their positioning, and his range is just going to help out everything at shortstop, and that's where we were looking at with possibly Luciano being that guy. But now, when you look at the lineups that have been coming out over the last couple of days, we have seen the pairing of Matt Chapman and Nick Ahmed. Might be a situation where Bob Melvin's just trying to get them to feel each other out, know the range of one another. But how do you feel about that left side of the infield, especially with Chapman coming in there and just the overall defense as a whole? I mean, are we looking at one of the better defensive units in the National League right now?
Well, obviously, they need to be a lot better than they were last year. Yeah. I mean, we all know that. It cost them a ton of games last year. But if you look at the individuals now, I mean, there's pretty good defensive players out there. Chapman stands above everybody. I mean, he has, 2 platinum gloves. That's different than gold. Platinum means you're the best of anybody at any position, right? Yep. So, yes, I saw him for 4 years. He's sensational. I mean, he's as good as advertised. It's a show with him at third. You guys, you're going to love it. You're going to love it seeing it every day. He is terrific. He's the best third baseman I've ever seen. Yeah. Now, and he's a good offensive player. He's terrific in the club. He's a true team leader. So these are all things that I think the Giants needed, and I think they got all this stuff with Matt Chapman. Now, the shortstop spot, I mean, I think the Giants are starting to lean toward Nick Ahmed, which I'm okay with. I think Luciano, I think he needs a full year. He needs 400 at-bats in AAA. Yeah. And he needs to prove that he can stay healthy, Walter. Availability is a big thing in baseball, right? And Luciano needs to stay healthy, and he needs to play every day at AAA and get 400 at-bats. I think that would be best for him and the organization. And I tell you what, Nick Ahmed looks great. He's got 2 Gold Gloves. He's super smooth. And I think he and Chapman, I mean, that idea on the left side, that's about as good as you're going to get, I think, defensively. And I think run prevention is something that the Giants, that has to be important, because I don't know that they're going to score a ton of runs. I think they got a nice lineup. I think they got guys that are going to be there every day. But are they going to score 900 runs? Probably not. But good pitching, ground ball staff, and now you start looking around. I think it's got a chance to be a really good defensive team, because the catcher's good, the center fielder's good defensively, left side's great, Estrada's really good. So I like their defense a lot. And Chapman and Ahmed, you're not going to have anybody better defensively on the left side.
Yeah, I think it's a combination that the Giants fans, Giants organization, they're just excited about. And when you look at the young pitchers, you got to have great defense behind them to back them up. Just give them a peace of mind when they step onto the mound. But Glenn, thank you so much for joining me on the Giants pregame show. Really appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
I hope so, Walter. And you're doing a great job. And thanks for having me on. And couple games to follow today for Giants fans, so should be a good day. Thanks again, man.
All right, that is the great Glenn Kyper live from spring training. Love everything that he had to say there about the Giants, about the pitching, about the defense. Great stuff there. Thanks to Glenn for coming on. So we're going to go take a break. We're going to talk about this Giants lineup that we have out. Again, there are 2 games today, but we will be carrying the Giants taking on the Chicago White Sox live from Scottsdale, Arizona. Our guy Danny Dunn is over there in Scottsdale. He was sending me pictures yesterday, Raph. I was getting FOMO. I was getting FOMO with Danny Dunn sending me pictures live from spring training, and I was like, come on, man. Like, you can't do that to me. You're torturing me right now. I need some ball.
Oh, man, knowing Danny, he might not come back.
Yeah, he might not come back. He's just going to stay there. He's going to stay. Just like Glenn was saying at the beginning. He was just like, yeah, I'm down here. Been here for three weeks, and it's beautiful. I might just never leave.
You can't beat 77-degree weather, compared to here.
Yeah,
so.
man. No, dude. I love Scottsdale. Love Scottsdale. I need to get down there again at some point. It's been a couple of years. Actually, Raph, fun note for everyone. Maybe I'm the key because every year that I went, Giants did win the World Series. I'm just saying. So maybe I gotta make an appearance. I gotta go meet with Marty down there in Scottsdale. So we'll talk about the Giants lineup coming up, getting you ready for the Giants taking on the White Sox at 1:05. You'll have John Miller and Dwayne Kyper on the call today. So you're listening to the Giants warm-up show. We'll talk about that coming up next. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Hi, it's Marty Lurie heading out to River Islands for a sneak preview of the newest neighborhood being built at the most successful master plan community in Northern California. Kyper Homes is having a preview showing of its new Capri neighborhood, and I want to make sure I check out all the floor plans and elevations while the models are still being built. Wow. The homes will have 3, 4, 5 bedrooms, up to 3,200 square feet of space. That's plenty. Just perfect for growing families. Best of all, Capri is going to be built around a lake, which makes for great views and, lots of fun. There's so much going on at River Islands this year with more parks, more model homes being built, and River Islands High School getting ready to open its new campus. Prices at River Islands range from the mid-600,000s to over $1 million. The best place to start your tour is online at riverislands.com. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? You know it is for me.
Always love the music selection from Raph, greatest DJ out there at the leader. Welcome back to the Giants warm-up show. About to wrap this thing up, get you out to Scottsdale. Here, John and Glenn Kyper on the call. We'll go through this lineup real quick, but taking this time to remind you that the great Bill Lasky, we're talking a lot of pitching with Glenn. The great Bill Lasky is going to have Mason Black on yesterday on Extra Innings after the game, so make sure to tune into that. Yesterday he had Nick Ahmed. Great conversation. Great conversation. I need a Jordan Hicks, Bill. He's just getting everybody that we need to hear from Scottsdale. So love that with Bill. And before I close this thing out, yesterday I saw a note come in on the text line. Asked for a shout out. I completely missed it. We were up against it. I'm going to do it here. Shout out to Milton Pacas, Sr. Shout out from the leader. Lifelong Giants fan. Huge with the Niners and Warriors as well. So just want to give him a shout out here on the leader as we get you ready for Giants and the White Sox. Going through this lineup real quick, we have Austin Slater. We didn't even talk about Slater. He's in the field now, so that's great news for Austin Slater. He's batting leadoff in center field. You got Mike Yastrzemski in right, batting second. You got Michael Conforto in left. So two lefties going, batting third. You got Jorge Soler, DH. Let's keep him there. Matt Chapman at third base, batting fifth. Wilmer Flores at first, batting sixth. Tyro Estrada second base. Nick Ahmed, Joey Bart, and your starting pitcher, Spencer Howard. So we're going to send you out to Scottsdale, Giants and White Sox. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.